Hi everyone, it's Stacy. Thank you for coming on this yoga leap with me. Welcome to anyone who is finding the videos for the first time. Welcome back to anyone who's been practicing with me here for a number of weeks, months, or even years at this point. As you can see, I have my chair here, and this week I'm actually going to try and stay in the chair mostly. Sometimes it's nice to try something different. If you usually practice on your mat and don't get in the chair, it might be fun to try practicing only in the chair or trying a few of the postures in the chair. If you have other props you like to practice with, blocks, straps, bolsters, blankets, anything like that, go ahead and grab them. I don't usually cue with too many other props because I'm never sure what people have access to at home, but I will be in the chair. And I do have a chair that I can kind of move around easily. You don't obviously have to move your chair around. You can move around your chair as you need to, but we're mostly going to be sitting and doing some stretching. I'm feeling a bit tight. We're going to stretch some things out and just take a nice, have a nice stretchy, juicy kind of flow today. So with that said, I'm going to meet you back in the chair and we'll get started. Okay, so let's come to seated in our chairs. I might just move my chair forward a little bit here. And if you are practicing on your mat, go ahead and make your way down to the mat. You can sit cross-legged or on your shins with legs any way that feels comfortable for you. And if we're in the chair here, we're going to try to plant the feet on the floor. Now, if you're in a chair that you can't quite reach the floor, this is a nice place to add maybe a block or a book so that you can really feel the connection to the floor. And then we'll sit up nice and tall, find those sit bones. Roll the shoulders down and back a couple of times. And then we'll start to settle in here and turn our attention to our breath. If it's comfortable where you are to close your eyes, go ahead and do that. If not, we can maybe just turn the gaze down towards the floor, rest our gaze on something nice and still, and focus on that space. So without changing the breath too much, I know that the minute we try to focus on the breath, it changes, but let's try and breathe naturally here. No need to change the inhale or exhale. We just want to notice as we sit here in a little bit of quiet contemplation where the breath is flowing freely and maybe where it's getting stuck. There's no right or wrong, good or bad, we're just noticing. So noticing qualities of the breath like the temperature, the speed that we're breathing, where we can sort of see and feel the breath moving in our bodies. Is that in our belly, our chest? Are we feeling it flowing in and out through our nose? And then from here, let's start to deepen the breath a little bit. So we'll inhale and exhale for equal counts. So as we inhale, we'll inhale for 2 or 3 or 4 counts, whatever feels best for you, so that you can take a nice big breath and fill the whole core here. So filling the body forwards and backwards, sideways, even filling up through the chest and ribs, filling up like a balloon. And then as we exhale, the balloon will start to squeeze all the air out, press it out through the mat or the chair, and draw everything back in. So inhale for 3 or 4 or 5 counts. And then exhale for that same count. And again. So keeping with this equal ratio breath, try to make the breath one movement. So you inhale for your 4 count and then exhale for your 4 count. No pausing at the top, make it one fluid motion for a couple more rounds. And then we'll just let the breath settle back into a natural rhythm. Hopefully we've created a bit of space and just calms things down a bit. We can start to turn our attention to our physical bodies, noticing our hands connected to our lap, noticing our sit bones in the chair or the mat, noticing our shoulders. Are they way up near our ears? And if they are, can we roll them down and back? Maybe even noticing our head. Is it pulling forward? Can we try to stack our all of our joints? So sort of pulling the head back, stacking the joints. And if you're ready, can flutter the eyes open here as well. And we'll take just a little gander around our physical space, reorient ourselves with our space, and then we'll start to create a bit of movement with our breath. I think I'm gonna hit the wall. If I breathe here, I'm gonna move over a little bit. There we go. Okay, let's inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, press the air out. Inhale, sweep up. And exhale, lower. Let's do one more. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, lower down. This time, let's inhale, sweep the arms up, kind of forwards and down. So we're just moving the shoulders in a bit of a different pattern here. Inhale, sweep the arms up and down. On the exhale, press it out. I'm even pressing a little further behind me. I can do that. I've got the space behind me. If you don't, no problem. Just take them as far up and back as you can. Exhale, press it out. Inhale here. Press it out one more time. All right, let's inhale, reach the arms up, reach, reach, reach. See if we can even sort of lengthen through the sides here as we reach up a little taller. And as we exhale here, let's bring these shoulders into cactus arms. And then inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Let's inhale one more time here. Stay lifted. We're going to grab onto our right wrist with our left hand here. Inhale to reach up and exhale over. Now, depending on your chair, hopefully it stays nice and grounded. Really root down through that right hip here as you reach up and over with the arm here. We're creating a big stretch down the side body. Stay grounded and rooted through the feet and the sit bones. Good. Let's inhale, reach up. Exhale, grab the opposite wrist and over. Inhale, reach up and release. Let's exhale the hands all the way down. Circle the shoulders. Change directions. All right. Let's inhale our hands up in front of us here. We're going to stretch through the back side body and the back of the shoulders a little bit. And we're going to cross our right arm underneath our left and we'll reach back for our shoulders. Now we're still warming up. This might be enough. If you're feeling warm enough and you want to come into eagle arms where you sort of wrap the arms and the backs of the palms, backs of the hands or the palms touch, you can do that. It is a bit intense and we're still warming up. So grabbing for opposite shoulders is great here. And if you've got the shoulders, you may already feel a nice splaying of the shoulder blades at the back. If you're looking for a little more, you can start to round down through the spine. Let the shoulder blades come apart, splay them open. Hang out here for a few rounds of breath. Let's inhale, come on, back up, and we'll sweep the arms up as we continue to inhale. Let's exhale the hands behind. Now, again, depending on what type of chair you have, you might just be reaching and trying to pretend you're holding onto a beach ball here and just creating a bit of energy by reaching the hands back and holding onto an invisible ball. If you have a stool or a chair that allows the knuckles to come together and you can clasp the knuckles and reach the arms behind you, you can maybe even do what I've done and turn sideways on your chair, again, depending on the type of chair you have. And we're now opening up through the front side body. So we've got this nice big heart space reaching up towards the body. We're lifting and bending through the back. We're not just cranking through the back and the knuckles are reaching down, or we're energetically reaching towards the back or the floor. Staying for another breath. Let's release those hands. Inhale to sweep them up. As we exhale, we'll bring them forward. I'm just going to turn back to the front here. This time we'll sweep left arm underneath and reach back for those opposite shoulders. Or again, if you're feeling like you can come into these eagle arms this early in the practice, go ahead and find those. Take another big inhale here, and then go ahead, round through the spine, splay the shoulder blades. Stay for another breath, rounding through the spine, breathing into the backside body for one more. And then we'll inhale, release the arms, come on up. And exhale those hands behind again. If you took the clasp last time, maybe clasp your sort of wrong finger in front and on top. See if that feels funny. It will, and it will wake up your brain because it will just feel all wrong. Go ahead and reach the knuckles down if you have the space. Again, option to turn sideways on your chair if that gives you a bit more space. And if you can't reach the knuckles, we're just holding on to that imaginary ball. Good, reaching the knuckles down, reaching the heart space up. Stay for another breath here. I'm just going to turn to the front. And when you're ready, release those hands. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And we'll exhale the hands down through front, center, and hands down on the lap. Awesome. Let's inhale, sweep the arms up to shoulder height again. And this time we're just going to reach the right arm across the body, and the left arm's just going to help draw it across. Now we don't want to twist through the core here. We want to stay nice and firmly grounded through the sit bones, through the feet, so that we're creating a bit of a stretch down the back of the shoulder here. And we're just helping guide the arm across the body with our left hand. Staying for another breath. Option to stay here, or option to lift the right arm up and reach for the back of the neck as the left hand comes and finds that elbow that's pointing up towards the ceiling here. And we're just going to find a bit of a stretch down the tricep and armpit on the right side. If you have a clasp down the back here where you can reach for fingers, go ahead and find that clasp as well. Again, even if you do have that clasp, we're kind of still in the warm-up. You might not be ready for that. You might just want to stay here. Stay for 2 more breaths. And then we'll release everything down. Let's roll those shoulders up towards the ears and back down. And opposite direction. Good. All right. Let's inhale, sweep the arms up to shoulder height. And this time we're going to have the right hand help the left hand come across the body, stretching down the left side. If you did the opposite side first, no problem, just switch sides. We just want to make sure we get both sides in. Doesn't really matter what side you do first. Just having the arm cross the body, feeling that stretch down the back of the shoulder. Let that left hand be kind of heavy in the right hand. Let the right hand support you. And try to soften through the stretching area. And then just like before, you could stay here, or we could bring that left arm up, reach for behind the head and neck, and then the right hand finds the elbow, helps draw it up towards the ceiling. Or like I said, you might have that clasp behind the back where fingers can reach. I don't have that. I never have that, even if I'm really warmed up and ready to go. I can never do that. I guess I shouldn't say never. It's just escaped me up until this very moment. Take 1 more breath here. And then we'll inhale, release, exhale down. Let's roll those shoulders. Go in the opposite direction of what you normally do. Good. Let's bring the hands back to the thighs here. If you're seated on the ground, you're in cross-legged and you feel like shaking the legs out or crossing them in the opposite direction, go ahead and do that. I'm going to just scooch forward on my chair a little bit. And we're going to just come in, start waking up the hips a little bit here as we plant the hands down and we find a few hip circles. Inhaling and exhaling, sort of inhaling, pulling the heart space forward, exhaling, rounding through the spine a bit. Getting into the low back, the hips, just seeing how we feel. Let's do another one here. And then on the inhale, let's sit up nice and tall. Take a breath here, and then we'll switch directions. So we inhale, pull that heart space through, and start rotating in the opposite direction. Just notice how different each side might feel. Let's do a couple more. And then we'll just come up through center. Awesome. Let's step the legs wide. Now, if you're on the floor, the legs can come wide along the floor as well. Or I'll demonstrate another option because we're going to come into a little bit of a sort of breathing and flowing movement here. So to begin with though, let's all take a nice forward fold, legs out wide. Take an inhale here with a long back, let's fold forward. If you're in the chair, you can use your knees as support. Maybe you have blocks here for support. Maybe you want to fold all the way forward. And you can stay with a tall spine or melt down, dangle the head. Whatever feels best wherever you are. Breathe into the backside body for another breath. And then if you're all the way down, bring the hands to the thighs again to help bring you all the way back up to seated. Take a moment here. The blood might be coming out of, rushing out of the head here. Settle in. Now, hang out on the floor for a minute while I demonstrate a little bit of a flow here. To begin with, we're going to bring left elbow to left knee. You can rest on the knee here, but you don't want to sink into it. You still want to use a bit of core strength. And imagine you're spinning these under ribs, these left ribs open towards the front, at the same time reaching the right arm up. And we're going to inhale as we open up, and then exhale. You can thread the needle or just come on down to the leg here. And then open up, press into that support arm, open up, twist. And lower. So keep going if you're in the chair. If you're on the floor here, you can make your way to your tabletop. An option to press into the left hand, sweep the right arm up and open, and then thread the needle here. So that's our option on the floor. And then of course, we'll switch sides. So keep going. Let's find a few more breaths. Inhale as we open up. Exhale, curl in. Inhale and exhale. Let's do a couple more here. Open up, let's stay for a breath. Good, let's bring the hand down. Use a bit of core strength to come up through center. Take a big inhale. If you're on the floor, you can push yourself back to child's pose for a breath. You can do that on the chair as well. You can fold forward or just stay for one more big inhale here. As the hands come down, let's position ourselves to go to the other side. So now right elbow, right knee. Again, we don't want to dump in here. We want to be using this arm as support, but still using our core strength to lift us up and open towards the side. And as we open these right ribs towards the front, the left arm sweeps up. This is our inhale. And then exhale again. Either thread the needle or reach down towards the ankle, whatever feels best. Switching sides if you're on the mat as well. Moving with your breath. You don't need to move at the same pace I do. It's all about moving with your breath. These are our big inhales and exhales. Let's do 2 more. Spin those right ribs under, open up, and then thread the needle. Last one. I might have done one too many there, I'm not sure. All right, let's open up. Bring the hand down. We're going to use our core strength to come back up through center. Find yourself in child's pose, a forward fold. Take a few breaths or whatever feels best here. And then when we're ready, we're going to transition into a little bit of a humble warrior posture here. So if you're on the chair, we're just going to swing to one side. So depending on what type of chair you have, I'm going to swing our hips around so that they face in the same direction as our right leg, which is stepped out in front, and the left leg can come behind. We can either plant the foot right down on a 45-degree angle and turn those hips to face that front leg, or if that's too much, you can have the toes lifted, knees can be bent, or you can step the leg back long behind you. This gives a nice stretch down the hip flexors as well. I'm going to plant my foot down to feel a little more stable because we are going to fold forward in our humble warrior. So we're going to come into our warrior 1. Let's reach the arms up. Now if you're on the floor, make your way up to standing, and it's the same thing. It's basically, again, warrior 1 standing. Instead of the chair supporting, you're just standing. Or again, back foot can be lifted, you can be in a lunge. This doesn't feel as stable to me, but if it hurts your leg and you like being up on the toes and you have a chair to hold on to, you can use the chair as a prop for this as well. And the reason I say it doesn't feel as stable is because what we're going to do is come into our humble warrior. So from here, we're going to inhale and then exhale the hands behind. Now again, you can clasp an imaginary ball, reach the knuckles, or even grab onto opposite elbows here to open up through the front side body. Stay for another inhale, and then we can fold forward on the exhale. So if you're seated in the chair, the right leg is being supported by the chair, and we're folding towards that front right supported leg. Option to stay lowered in your warrior, or you can flow with breath. As we inhale, we lift up, and exhale, fold. Stay in stillness or move with breath for 2 more rounds. Last forward fold here. Come on up, release whatever clasp we have. Let's inhale. Good. Let's find a bit of a reverse warrior. Let that left arm find the back of the left leg as we reach up and over. Find our reverse warrior here. And then let's come to our side angle as we come back to that position we saw earlier with right elbow on right knee. Left arm sweeps up or over the left ear, and we've created this big long line of energy here. And then we're going to come on up and switch sides. So we'll step our foot in. We'll come around through center. If you're on the floor, maybe stepping the feet shoulder width distance. Let's all take a big inhale. Exhale the hands down. Just before we transition to the other side, we just want to sort of recalibrate. Good. Let's make our way to the other side. So again, in the chair, we'll turn sideways and we'll step that back leg out. So now the right leg is stepping out and the foot can be on the 45-degree for warrior 1. We can keep it in our lunge if that feels better. Knowing where we're going with our humble warrior, make the choice that's best for you. And if you're not using the chair, of course, coming into our standing warrior 1, we're going to all inhale, reach up. Exhale, let's bring the hands behind. Now, if you had a clasp, switch the clasp. Same if you got onto elbows, see if you can switch the clasp of the elbows. And I'm going to come back to my chair. Like I said, I'm practicing in the chair today just for something different. Take a big inhale here, reach the heart space up, and then exhale, fold forward. Inhale. You can stay lowered or lifted. You don't have to flow with breath. I'm just choosing to do that. I like the opening through the front side body. And then the coming down. I like the movement. We'll do one more. Exhale, lower. Inhale, release the clasp, reach the arms up, and we'll circle that right arm to find the back of right leg, left arm reaching up and over, finding a little bit of a reverse warrior here. Opening up through the side body on the left for one more breath. And then let's exhale, come into our side angle. Let's plant that left elbow like we did earlier on the left knee. Right arm sweeps up. We're all the way along the side body, and now we've created this nice long line of energy on the right side. Good. Spin the heart open. Stay for 2 more breaths. Good. Let's come on up. Let's step that back foot in, reposition ourselves on our chair. Take a couple rounds of breath here, or find a forward fold or a child's pose. If you're in the chair and you want child's pose, just bring the feet in a little bit closer and go ahead and melt down over the legs. This is a nice child's pose in the chair. Breathe into the backside body for another round. And then we'll make our way back up. Good. Let's do a couple of stretches for our hips here. Let's come into our figure 4. Now, if you're seated on the floor, I'll show you a couple of options. If you know where you're going, go ahead and get into that now. Feel free to lie down on your back as well, and you can find a figure 4 and even find a thread the needle figure 4 on your back. In the chair, we'll cross our ankle over our knee, and we'll help sort of guide the knee down towards the floor by pressing gently, just to guide it. We don't want to like yank into anything. Keep a flex in the foot here. If this is enough for you, stay here. If you're looking for a little bit more, you can start to hinge forward. And I say hinge because it's like you're trying to lift up and over the leg here to help find a bit more sensation and stretch in the outer hip. Now stay here if you're in the chair. I'll join you in a minute. If you're on the floor and you're looking for options, an option can be to come into a sort of cradle the baby, where you lift the foot up, the leg up, and you cradle it. You got your knee in your elbow here, foot in the other elbow, and you can stay in stillness or rock side to side. Or another option would be to find a seated figure 4. And you can start to walk the foot closer or the bum closer to the heel to increase the intensity. If you're on the ground, of course, it might look something like this. So lots of options for this stretch. I'm coming back to the chair to join you here. Wherever we are, let's stay for 3 more rounds of breath. Find that deep breath. Breathe into the backside body. Breathe into the hip. Try and soften through the hip. Keep a flex in the right foot. 1 more breath. Let's inhale up, uncross. If you're on the ground, go ahead and windshield wiper the knees. You can do that in the chair as well, depending on what type of chair you have, or just lift and shake the legs out just to recalibrate. And then we'll go to the other side. So we'll lift the left foot, cross it over the right knee, have that right foot ground down into the floor. You've got all of your options on the mat as well, so finding opposite side. So just help guide that knee open a little bit and staying upright or hinging forward to create a bit more stretch down the left side this time. Created a little bit of heat in our flowing warrior, just enough so that we can maybe get a little deeper in our stretches here for our hips. Stay for 2 more rounds of breath. And then we'll come on up. Good. Now, if you're on the floor, make your way down to your back. You can draw your knees into your chest and rock side to side. If you're in the chair here, option is to draw 1 knee up at a time. Option to even curl into your knee and then switch sides. So you can draw 1 knee up, curl in if you'd like. You're on the mat, rocking side to side, trying to massage out that low back. Let's do one more on each side, inhaling and then exhaling. And then if there's any final postures you want to do, if there's any other areas we haven't stretched out or that we have stretched out that you want to do a little bit more stretching for, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, we'll start to settle in for our final Shavasana, a few moments of rest just at the end. So we can settle into our chair, our mat, bringing our hands wherever they're comfortable. That might be back down on our lap. It might be one hand on belly, one on heart center. If we're lying down, it might be hands by our sides, whatever feels best. And if it's comfortable, again, for you in your space to close your eyes, go ahead and do that. And we'll just turn our attention to our bodies as we start to scan our bodies from head to toe. Noticing if there are any areas that we're still holding on to any tension, and maybe just breathe a little loving kindness that way. And see if we can't let it go. Shavasana is the time for our physical and energetic bodies to absorb all that good work we just did and turn it into something magical. It's a time for integration and rest. And know that rest is different from sleep and that we need both every day. And we should never pass up an opportunity to just rest and do nothing. And the beauty of practicing through the lens, of course, is if you want or need to stay in your Shavasana for any longer, please let the video play out or press pause now, and we'll see you here again next week. If you are ready to bring a bit of movement to your body and get on with your day, your week, your month ahead, go ahead and wiggle the toes and fingers, maybe circling the wrists and ankles. You might want to reach up, stretch long, or curl into a little ball again, just before making your way to a comfortable seated position, either on the mat or in your chair. From here, let's all take a big breath together. Inhale, sweep the hands up overhead. Exhale, gather all that good juicy stretching, bring it down through heart center. Hands can rest in prayer or just over the heart center or back down in your lap, whatever feels comfortable for you. I want to thank you so much for allowing me into your personal private yoga practice spaces and for allowing me to be your guide through these hopefully lovely, slow, juicy stretches, and that it's exactly what you needed. I'll see you here again next week. Take care. Thanks, everyone. I hope that a little bit of stretching is what you needed and that you will take this sort of nice, calm feeling with you for the rest of your day. I'll see you here again next week. Bye.